let's say you wear a jacket in summertime climates where people shouldn't be wearing jackets, and people always
Who would
ask
do
you,
that?
why are you wearing a jacket on all the time when it's so fucking hot out? Ain't you hot? What the fuck is wrong with you, you stupid ass motherfucker? And you're like, mind your business. Zombie, zombie, eh, 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 in your head. Is that what you want to say? In your head afterwards? It's so weird doing it that way, though. But
Because
that's the
it's
song.
supposed to go the other way. Yeah.
Zombie. Everyone knows what Zombie is by the awesome group that did that song. His name escapes me off the top of my head.
I was about to say that's your way of covering up that you don't know who the fuck made it.
No, I see it, and then I'm like, yeah, that's them. But then I think about it, I'm like, nope, that's not them. It's
I
whenever I
wanted
see it, I'm reminded who it is, but I never. I'm not gonna act like I listen to a lot of their songs or I even listen to Zombie that much.
I wanted to say the fucking cranberries, but I'm like,
Cranberries.
oh, it is the cranberries.
It's Cranberries because
Like,
I think
but it
Carpenters, but
totally
I'm
is
like,
them.
it's definitely not Carpenters. It's some other word, and it's
I
like
wanted to say the
cranberries. Yeah,
cranberries. I was
cranberries.
like, but it's not the cranberries. It's the cranberries. Holy shit.
Yep, the cranberries. The mighty cranberries. That was a
Eminem
TV
sampled
show.
that shit for I mean, he sampled that for some song too.
Oh, I
Just
can
like
say that.
I think the name of the song was "In Your Head," so he just sampled the "In Your Head" part.
That sounds like something he would do. Anyway,
Anyway, yeah.
hey guys. Y'all know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent, big ugly himself, Omari Ellis, Giotavi on Twitch, feogrande on YouTube. Also, every once in a while referred to as Pete on the show. And I'm here today with another episode of the Whatever We Want podcast. We do that. We talk about whatever we want, and I want to, and thus I do every week. Host this show with my good friend to my side, the one and only Superjaz.
Real quick. Yes, as you said, I am the other host of the show. My name is Jazz, aka Super Jazz, SJJT, whatever you want, what have you, in the like. And as my dear friend said, this is the Whatever We Want podcast, where we do just that. We talk about, for some reason, I am getting so much like spit in my mouth, I can barely goddamn talk. But where we do just that, we talk about whatever we want. We do not lead the conversation leads us, and we let the chips fall where they may.
Every Wednesday.
I'm telling you, one of these days, you're going to get caught slipping. I'm going to say fall where they may.
Slipping?
I'm going to pause for about 2-3 seconds. You ain't going to say nothing, and I'm going to come in with some silly shit.
You say silly shit now. I bet you are.
I'm fucking with you. God. Partially, there is a level of seriousness, but very, very, very partially because the through line has changed from me saying the dumbness to me describing me saying the dumbness. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yes, you do. Fuck you.
Sure.
Fuck you, you motherfucker. Anyway, so where are our chips falling this Wednesday?
That's a good question.
Oh, I was the one that supposed to have a prompt.
You sure was.
I'm over here kicking it to you, and I was the one supposed to have a prompt. Okay, the reason why I said off recording that this prompt that I had was something that was not necessarily a big deal to talk about is it's one, maybe to an extent I am, but not really that hard. But one is going to sound a little like I'm belly aching, maybe first off. Maybe, I don't know. It probably wouldn't have even sounded that way if I didn't open it by saying it's gonna sound that way. Because you know how you say, like, you put that thought in people's heads, please don't get mad. So now the motherfucker's waiting for what you're gonna say to make them mad, as opposed to you just saying this shit and them not getting mad.
No offense,
Anyway.
but I'm about to offend the shit out of you.
Right. No offense. It's like, you are a fucking stupid, fucking never amount to anything piece of shit. No offense. Like, hey, okay, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Like, but no. The other reason I say that too is because I believe, like going back to also, I believe that I have somewhat talked about this on the podcast before. So that's why I'm saying it's not a big deal. But for some reason, and this is honestly something that will probably just off and on just be in my head in my life.
Like a zombie.
That was a good catch. Like I even paused for a second, thought about it. That was a good catch. I'll give you a little okay. But no. It's something that's like off and on been in my head the last few weeks for whatever reason. There's a lot of stuff that's been in my head like the last few weeks, like just toying off and on in my head. And I think one of those reasons is just because of the fact that I'm a single bachelor, you know, live alone type shit. So I got nothing but time to think when I'm not handling my business as far as work and
handling passion. Your business.
Are you alluding to me beating my penis?
No, your passion, like your actual business. You work one thing, but your job is your thing. Your career passion when you say is your shit real business.
Because when you say shit and handling your business, like, you know, like it sounds like,
hey, well. Yeah, so, you know, that just means no one sticks around, you know what I'm saying? But you can still handle the business if you need to with the ladies. I don't know, handle your business, homie. But, funny. You know...
I just realized single bachelor is redundant. But no, here it is. But me being a bachelor, like I said, so you got a lot of time to think when you're not, you know, handling business for whatever. And one of the things that, for whatever reason, I mean, you probably know what I mean when I say the whole thing about just like stuff just popping in your head because you have too much like time to think about whatever. And one of the things that pops in my head is why, and I mean, I've lived this long, so whatever, but why is it such a big deal for a person to be an adult, 30 in his 30s, whatever, and not smoke or drink?
You have mentioned this before, and I think the long story is, I don't think it's, people make a big deal because, hey, you're doing something that you don't do something that I and a lot of people I know do. I think that's essentially what it boils down to, but there's also the whole other way you could look at it, where a lot of people out there that drink and smoke, some people do it to have fun just because they've been associating it with fun and they can keep associating it with fun. Hang out with some friends, drink, whatever. Do that. Or they like the taste or whatever like that. Others do it to try and escape the fact that the real world is a terrible place and there's very little likable about it. And the fact that somebody else can be out there in their minds, the fact that somebody can be out there that can just take the world like it is and be okay with that. You don't need some kind of escapism in their mind just because, but again, that's the whole, you don't do what I do, so man, you're different. But yeah.
What's so funny?
Who went off about you not drinking or smoking recently?
Honestly, this is just something that's, well, okay. Wow, I was gonna say real quick. What's so funny is what you said, basically like your breakdown, is pretty much the breakdown that I have garnered over the years. And what's so funny is you've never been one of them people to try to pressure me into drinking. Obviously, we wouldn't be good friends if that was the case. You never been one of them people to pressure me into drinking or smoking. You smoke, you drink around me. You did the do. And it's never been no big deal and nothing like that. But it's funny how you being on the other side, you can still assess it as though you were in my shoes. So I just think that's so funny. I mean, I know we've talked about it some, but it's just so funny that like I said, what I have garnered from what people have said, how they've said it, what they've done, this and that. It's just funny that somebody who has never really experienced the other side can kind of gauge how it is. So no, good on you for that one. No,
at the end of the day, I know the shit's bad for you. I think you're a smart person not doing it.
Well, but no, if you want to talk about who recently said something, I mean, if we're being honest, there are two instances that come to mind. One of those instances, Bob the Tomato is the man, but when we were all hanging out at the bar, he was like, "You don't have any vices, Jazz? I don't know if I could trust a man with no vices." And that was just something that popped in my head because I was just like, the thing is, it's not so much that he said it, but I've had not a lot, but a few people say something along them lines to me.
And there's such thing as people being too perfect.
Your assessment of this shit is stuff that I have definitely thought about myself, and that's just.
And
so
you got to remember where I'm an anomaly to you in the sense that I don't peer pressure you. You're an anomaly in the sense that there are most people who reach, into their adulthood and don't smoke or drink, they're very preachy about it and very, they not, or if not preachy, because you're not preachy, no one ever assumed you were, but it's one of those things where there's that whole aura of superiority given off by them, where they feel like they're better than you because they don't. And then there's the whole thing where, and again, let's go back to the world's a terrible place, so someone going through it without some kind of escapism or vice, that's weird. That's different. And yeah, I don't know if I could trust a single person that had no flaws, no vices that they were into. And there are more vices than alcohol or drugs, which I believe you brought up there as well. And so I was like, there were more or if you didn't, I know I said it, because I was like, oh no, there's more than just those two vices, to be fair. But no, like anybody walking around claiming they don't have something that's wrong with them probably has a lot wrong with them. And they just ain't trying to tell nobody. They may not be the same vices as you, but everybody has a vice.
Everybody has a price.
Yeah, everybody has a vice.
Yeah. Shout out Ted DiBiase. No, like I said, and that's not to not to call out Bob Tomato, but he's not the first person that says something along the lines. And if I'm being honest too, when he said it, obviously he's more your friend than mine, but me and him are not gonna not be friends and stop because we are friends. We're not gonna stop being friends just because of that. Like I could tell, from that assessment. But when he said it, I don't think he was necessarily really joking. I think there was a little bit of like, what the fuck?
Well, it was not necessarily saying he doesn't trust you.
If you're listening to Bob the Tomato, this is not to call you out.
Yeah, no, I don't think you feel that way. But what I'm going to say is I don't think that was necessarily saying, I don't think I could trust you. Like, I think the serious aspect of it wasn't necessarily at you, but I said it a second ago. I actually don't think genuinely that I could trust somebody that I can't find a single flaw in.
I don't think, depending on how that person carried themselves.
Or have any vices of. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I know exactly what you're saying. And for me, depending on how that person carried themselves, because again, there is a difference between not doing something and then, you know, you live and let live, as opposed to not doing whatever and, you know, being preachy, nose in the air, or, you know, hoity-toity, high and mighty about it. Because if there was somebody who seemingly didn't have no vices, whatever they were, seemingly didn't have no vices, like motherfucker was fit, ate healthy, didn't smoke, didn't drink, had all money in their account, well-behaved kids, beautiful wife, like, you know, just everything was perfect kind of shit. If they seemed like if there was some nose in the air kind of shit off of that, then it would be like, fuck you. But for me, if they, you know, had the quote unquote nuclear family and everything, you know, all they ducks in a row and everything was cool kind of shit, but they were like live and let live and didn't give a fuck if motherfuckers were going out there and, you know, hitting the bong and, you know, as long as they didn't do it to excess, you know, drinking a Jim Beam or bean or two, if they didn't give a fuck about it, I don't think that would bother me. I don't think, and it may be because, and I don't want this to come off like me trying to be higher money or whatever, but it may be because if we look at it, because of what we talk about with me not smoking and drinking and how people have somewhat looked at me, it might be that it wouldn't bother me because I've somewhat been looked at as that. So maybe it wouldn't bother me because of that reason. It's funny you say the whole never appear too perfect thing, because it's that's something that I've honestly thought about. Is I think the biggest thing that rubs people the wrong way, and when I say this, majority of people that I've encountered, they don't so much make a huge deal off of it, but they do make a deal off of it. So let me not sit up here and make it seem as though all people, but people do, you know, make deals off of it, whatever, you know, like, you know, what the fuck kind of shit like that. But it's one of those things where it's like I believe I'm like I come off too perfect, and I don't try to do anything. I try to live and let live. If I had a friend who was drinking to excess, of course I would say something. But other than that, like if I had a friend who just, you know, he liked to drink every now and then and do the do, I wouldn't give a fuck, you know,
Well,
especially
also,
if you fucking grown.
if I recall, at that point we hadn't like played any games or nothing either, or you hadn't, or you probably had already expressed that you didn't have like a modern day console or anything like that. So it's one of those things where yes, there are more vices than just drugs or alcohol, but shit, video games can be a vice. You shouldn't be playing video games or, you know, doing stuff like that. But I think you hadn't seemed to be expressed that either. So it's like, so, you know, you don't have it. Like, what, you know what I mean? Or you're just different. I don't think it was so much a thing of disgust or distaste, even. I think it was just more different. So what is up with you? And then he made the comment, like, because I don't know if I'm somebody who doesn't have any vices, but you know what I mean? Like, this is different.
Right. Because, okay, like you say, like, that's another thing, too. It's so funny, everything that I mean, we've also kind of like talked about this period, like just here and there, because you've known me forever and I've never been one to smoke a drink. But I think that's another thing with people is I think that like, because I will be the dude at the party chilling with the tipsy motherfuckers, as long as you don't get, if you get too drunk, I don't like being around drunk people. I'll say that, I don't give a fuck. But other than that, like I'll be the dude chilling around the motherfucker that's got a shot glass or two in his hand, or, you know, sitting back with his Jack and Coke, and I'll be the, you've been there with me, I'll be the one partying, hanging out and doing whatever. And I think it does give people that like, what is up with you vibe for me. Like, so that's another thing I've thought about too. Another time recently, you know, to get off of, you know, just one person, but another time recently is like, basically the paths that I've chosen in life. I'm just more getting into like music, so I can't fully speak to that, but I know that that's a thing. But acting and the restaurant business, all motherfuckers do acting wise is drink and maybe smoke some weed. And in the restaurant business, motherfuckers do all kind of shit. I always make the joke that if you ever go to like a new city or something like that and you don't know where to get some weed, go to the restaurant business, because they either got somebody in that bitch selling it or they got somebody in that motherfucker that knows where the shit is being sold. So recently, I had somebody just, when I told him like I don't smoke or drink, and of course it comes up and it's just like, what? You don't smoke or drink? I think another thing too is I think people look at me like a party pooper.
I don't know about that.
Well, I partially believe it, because it's like everybody's sitting there participating in this. Come on, bro. Like, damn, you're just gonna sit back and not do it? That's part of what it feels like, at least.
Well, I think, but it's also like, because I don't think they kept pressuring you or anything.
No, I'm not talking about us just at the hangout.
Okay, I was saying, I don't think anybody pressured you at all. No. And that's the thing, they didn't. And I'm guessing that's my example that I know what I'm saying, but that's my example that there are people out there, because they're not as much of an anomaly either, where it's like, oh well, as long as you're having fun, cool. You know what I mean? And you're, as I mentioned before, you're not preachy about it. It's not, you went, nah, I'm good. And then whenever we talked about funny shit or laughed about shit, yeah, you might have had some different opinions than other people, but I just say that because you've said it yourself. You've been called a contrarian, whether or not you are.
Oh,
So I'm not saying, I can't think of any specific incidents from that night. I'm just saying, just because I know you, and I'm trying to think, what remotely would people have something to say negative? Like, how the hell couldn't he like this? That's about it. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you're saying, right? But like I said,
as far as I'm just saying, as far as that goes, like, I think as long as you are having fun with everybody else, I don't think anyone could see you as a party pooper for not doing that. Because hell, you could go somewhere, let's say you are a drinker, you can go somewhere, you drove there and you're like, I drink, but tonight I drove, so I prefer not to, and still have fun with everybody. You know what I mean? So
I think I'm sorry.
So yeah, I'll say that, but I get what you're saying, because before I started drinking, like when I was younger, I was the preachy, straight edge type. I'll say it. I was, I'm not going to do that because I don't feel like killing myself like the rest of y'all. That kind of shit. But as I got older, I was like, whatever. And back then, if I said I didn't want anything, well, I always thought people were looking down on me, even if they weren't. So I was going to say, I wouldn't get anything. I wouldn't get that vibe from people. Now, if anything, I got extra that vibe from people that they're like, oh, look at this motherfucker over here not drinking stuff. But I had more of a reason to think that because, like I said, I was a bit more on the preachy side. Obviously, I'm no better than anybody then or now or forever. But yeah, I think it's fine. And at the end of the day, you're 30-something now.
About to be 31 in about 3 weeks here.
Yeah, you're 30-something now. So about when this is coming.
Right. I'll probably be 31 by the time this, like, a few days before this is out. Yeah, damn, I didn't realize that. Well, anyway.
Yeah. So yeah. And I think you have reached the point where, so they look at you weird because you don't drink. Fuck them. Who are they?
I mean, no, it's definitely a fuck them type of thing. It's just because I was, again, a lot of time to think recently about whatever. So this was something I was thinking about. Remember back in the day, because I'm gonna say something outlandish for comparison, just for the sake of comparison. Remember back in the day when people used to wear sun visors upside down sometimes?
Yeah.
So let's say everybody for the most part, when you go out, wears their sun visor upside down, and then you wear your sun visor straight, like you wear it the normal way. So everybody wearing their shit upside down, cocked to the side, whatever, but it's upside down all the time. And you wearing your stuff, like straight and flat. And for years and years and years, whether people make a big deal out of it, small deal out of it, they just make a deal out of it, that somebody is always saying, why do you wear your sun visor straight? Why you wear your sun visor straight? Whether they ridicule you for it or whether they just are curious. Because I've had people just genuinely be curious, whatever. But they always talk about, usually it would be one of those. They
always talk about what? You kind of glitch a second.
They always talk about your sun visor being straight.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be one of those things where it's like, of course, eventually you would be like, and eventually, like sooner, much sooner rather than later, you would be like, fuck them. But it still don't mean it ain't fucking annoying. And it still don't mean it's not one of those things where it's like, here we go again. Mm-hmm. And it's like, obviously, ain't no big deal. Forget it. Who cares? But here we go with this again. So that's what I mean. No, of course. If it was one of those things where, and I've had like majority of people have not tried to peer pressure me, but I have had a few people, just a few. But it's one of the things where it's like,
it's gonna happen.
If I succumbed to peer pressure, or if I really, really cared about the fact that as this many people were inquisitive, I would have been drink by now. So it ain't even got nothing to do with that. I'm gonna drink when I, decide to. I'm gonna smoke cigarette, smoke weed, do whatever the fuck whenever I want to. But and that's not saying that I'm better than anybody for not doing it, nothing like that. But it's just one of them things where it's like, of course, fuck them. But the fact that it is always such a big deal, and I haven't even done anything, it does get old. So that's
and it's also, like I said, as you get older, it's gonna be weirder and weirder.
It's gonna be weirder and weirder. You
older and older people do it. But let's say you wear a jacket in summertime climates where people shouldn't be wearing jackets, and people always ask you, why are you wearing a jacket on all the time when it's so fucking hot out? Ain't you hot? What the fuck is wrong with you, you stupid ass motherfucker? And you're like, mind your business. Or, damn it, I've been doing this since high school. So it's like what you said with the sun visor thing.
Has that been thrown around?
In about as many words, yeah.
Okay.
At the very least, the sentiment is behind said words. But it is what it is. I get it. But like you said, yeah, it's annoying. But at the same time, I don't lose any sleep over it, I guess. Over why is it so weird that I want to wear a jacket in a place where, yes, it's hot, but it also rains every day. So I could have just as much of a justification. It ain't like I'm wearing a big, puffy northern coat.
North Face.
No, just northern, like, in the northern regions of the country where it's cold, and they got like the thicker coats. It's not like I'm wearing that in the summertime. Closest thing I come to that is a trench coat, which again you could wear when it's raining.
Man, if I ran into a motherfucker,
and I do it for 3 days out of the fucking summer.
If I ran into a motherfucker that had on a big time Eskimo parka and it's like fucking 80, 90 degrees outside, I'm gonna think that motherfucker's crazy.
Yeah, see, and it's not like I'm doing that. I'm wearing a fucking thin-ass jacket I bought at Ross.
Right. I'm gonna be like, this is hot as shit. And this motherfucker is bundled up like it's fucking like negative 30 degrees. Hell no, stay away from this bitch. This fool crazy. No, but no, I like we can change the subject and keep going down the subject, but it's just something that I've definitely thought of. And like I said, what's so funny about what you said initially before I interjected is everything that you said is stuff that I've definitely thought about. I have had some people where it's come to, I had one person in particular, me and dude ain't friends no more. And it was one of the things, not just because of this reason, for so many reasons. Some people you find out like, you're a deceitful individual. And the way that you conduct yourself, not just with me, but with just various people around you, is very con artisty. And I basically, don't want you in my life before you do something along the lines like that with me, which I think to a slight extent maybe did something like that with me, but not really. But it's just like, I don't want anybody like that in my life. Basically, suffice it to say, it's one of those things where, again, not to sound like I'm belly aching, just conversation, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about the friend I had, who was no longer a friend. Like I said, when you get kind of con artisty and shit like that. But this dude was, for me, more than anyone I've encountered, because I've had people who, like I said, were inquisitive. I've had people who were like, really? You're not gonna drink? I've had people make a little joke. I had people who talk about do this. This dude was like just the epitome of one person, just like the embodiment of peer pressure. And I think what it was for this guy, like I said, I'm not a fan of this individual, but I think what it was for this guy was like the assessment that some people say me not drinking makes them examine themselves, and those are the people who they really do drink seriously for a certain level of escapism. So if you meet somebody who can just navigate through life and they don't drink, it makes you have to examine yourself hard. So this dude was the epitome of like peer pressure, trying to talk me into drinking. This motherfucker was one of those. It was just like, there were several red flags where it was like I should have stopped being his friend a whole lot sooner than I did. But this was definitely one of them, because of one thing that was a big deal that he would talk about. Like I said, was a drinking thing. He was like, "Yeah, you don't drink it. When gentlemen get together and they settle, what do you say? What somebody said? When gentlemen get together and they make deals, a lot of times they do it over like scotch and whatnot. So I don't know if people would necessarily trust you if you didn't necessarily drink because of this and this. And it's just like all kind of like little shit try to get you to drink. And it was just like, you go also where you try to meet a woman. I don't know if she necessarily gonna trust you because I have had not by the same person, but I have had, and not a lot either, like maybe like once or twice, maybe twice, my masculinity question because of the fact that I didn't want to drink. Went on a date with somebody one time. This is years ago, but I went on a date with somebody one time. We were chilling in the lounge when there wasn't a whole lot of people up there, and I got a Red Bull, and it looked like odd to her type of shit. And it's just like, But going back to that dude, like I said, he just, he was somebody where he was always trying to talk about how, like, yeah, you don't drink, man. And I think, like I said, I think he was somebody that it was like, you are using this because you're not necessarily fond of your life. And me being here chilling is making you less fond of it because you see me. And I'm not even doing it. But like I said, that dude, he tried to peer pressure. Not necessarily peer pressure, but he made big deals off a whole lot of stuff and a whole lot of red flags. So he's definitely like on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as like the perfect example for me to do it, something like con artist type shit. He's a fucking 11. Anyway, we don't have to make this whole podcast necessarily just about me and about my drinking and all that shit either. But like I said, it's just something that just was on my mind recently. And it's something that honestly, until the day that I do decide to drink, and then I thought about this too, the day that I do decide to drink, because I don't really lie about shit. When I do decide to drink, if it ever gets brought about when I decided to start drinking, then it's going to be a big deal about why did you start drinking late. But it is one of the things that's on my mind, because it's not to sound like I said, not to sound like I'm belly aching, but it's always a big deal. And it's always a big deal to people. Well, not a big deal, but it's always a deal to people in the sense of making a little joke about it or looking at you funny or just whatever. And it just, like I said, you fuck them, but it gets old. It really gets old. So that's all.
Jazz.
What's up?
You're different.
No shit. In more ways than just not smoking and drinking.
When you're different, people are going to react as if you're different from other people.
Sure.
It just comes with it. And I'm not saying that as like anything to you specifically. Like, hell, it's a thing I haven't really gotten into, but it's one of those things that when you ask questions and you think about it, that's essentially what it boils down to. People have been reacting, and people will always react that way because you are different and will continue to be so as long as you want to do whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And to be fair, there are a lot of people out there who wish they did have something that made them feel different, even though they don't realize that they are already different than everybody else. You know what I mean? You happen to get a constant reminder of the fact that, yes, you are unique in your thing. Because, like you said, there are a lot of ways that people react to you differently than they react to other people. And it's one of those things that, annoying as it may be, and you just kind of got to set it. Like I said, it's not to the same level because it's about wearing a jacket as opposed to not drinking or smoking.
I know, right.
But it is a repeated thing that has been pointed out to me over the years by people who don't know me or whatever. They're just like, why are you wearing a jacket? Ain't it hot? Ain't you hot? Yes, motherfucker. I'm hot.
You said it.
The fuck is wrong with you? Of course I am. You wear my goddamn jacket. Anyone can look outside and go, yes, it's 90 fucking degrees. Trust me, I know it's hot. But, you know, I could be like Big Shaq and tell a man's not hot, even if the babe tells me take off my jacket. Yeah, so, yeah, it's different. It is what it is. Eventually, I had to learn, you know, I could still be mad, but at the end of the day, I'm like, well, I am the one wearing a fucking jacket in the summertime. And I'm okay with that. And so, even though it frustrates me, it doesn't frustrate me nearly as much. Even though my jacket wearing doesn't frustrate me as much as it appears to frustrate people who are not wearing a fucking jacket, both me and them are just gonna have to hold that and keep going on about our lives. I guess that's kind of what I'm saying. Although, like I said, it's not as... Wearing a jacket outside is not as serious an issue as drinking or smoking. But it is a difference that I have that I constantly get called out for. No, I see. In a similar vein where I'm like, this isn't that big a deal where you have to always comment on it. Even some people always fucking commenting about it. Like, all right, I've been working here for a year, motherfucker. You haven't realized this. You know what I mean? Or I've been working here 8 years. Come on now.
Well then, let's go further down that rabbit hole, I guess. Why do you wear a jacket when it is 70?
I don't know. Habit?
I was like, wait, what? That was not the answer I was expecting. Thought you were gonna be like, yeah.
Habit? I feel weird if I don't. Yeah, see, like, I don't think it's a security blanket. People have accused me of being a security blanket, but what the fuck would it be a security blanket against? The weather?
Well, security blanket isn't so much a thing where it's like it needs to actually, physically, literally secure and protect you from something. It's a psychological type thing. Like, I feel weird or quote unquote naked without it type of thing.
It's more of a weirdness, like for if I'm going somewhere, like I can take out the trash and not have to put a jacket on. So it's not like I feel that weird when I go outside without a jacket on or something like that. And my trash also isn't right in front of my door when I say this. I have to like walk halfway across the apartment complex to take out the trash. Anyway, so I'm saying I can be outside without a jacket on. But yeah, when I like leave to go somewhere, I generally put on a jacket and a hat. It is what it is. What I do is not so much. Oh, this is, the whole security blanket thing. I think the closest I can come to when the habit started was freshman year of high school, where I was still living in St. Louis. St. Louis actually has winter as opposed to Florida. And after one winter, I kept wearing my coat to school. And even just because I got used to wearing it every day. And once the temperature started warming up, I think I first started getting those responses. And I think my thing was, why does it fucking matter? Let me wear a jacket. It was still, that was part of it. At the same time, it was like, I just wore a jacket. At the same time, like I said, and I've said numerous times, in the past especially, hey, I'm getting a reaction out of people from wearing this jacket. For some reason, this is pissing people off. Or at least getting people to notice me. I'm the guy that wears a jacket. Which I guess kind of stems to the whole I'm the trench coat guy and CEO type deal. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I can at least turn this into an identity thing. And that might have been how it started. But it's not like I feel if I go outside, damn, I broke kayfabe. I didn't wear my fucking jacket.
Broke kayfabe.
You know what I mean? That's like the equivalent of I have an established identity to the public. Oh shit, I ruined my established identity to the public. It's nothing like that. There's no psychological thing. Like my mom was like, oh, I know why you wear a jacket. I'm like, can you tell me? And then she said something. Oh, I thought you were saying wait again. When you went to close your bottle, I thought you were like, hold on. No, she's like, it's a psychological thing. Like, and then she said what it was. I'm like, nope, not that. I didn't care nearly as much about that as you thought. To where I'm like
broke down like some
I need to wear. Yeah, like nope. It wasn't that. I don't need to wear a jacket, or I don't feel like I need to wear, because the second I end up at a place and indoors, I take the damn jacket off half the time, as long as there's a place to put it. Or if I'm familiar with the place, you know what I mean? Sometimes I might wear my jacket longer when I'm at a place because I don't know how long we're going to be in there or leave, or I'm at a place for the first time. I'm like, I don't know where the fuck I'm putting this jacket. You know what I mean? But like when I eat, take off the damn jacket to eat. Even if I'm outside, when I eat, I take off the jacket. So it's got nothing to do with like psychological, I'm outdoors, I need to have a jacket on. I think it's just more of I'm going outside. Let me grab my keys, phone, wallet, coat, hat. Also, the jackets have a lot of pockets in them, and that's also very convenient because they carry a lot of stuff. So there's also the practicality of it, too.
That's one of the things that I assumed, because, like, you talking about wearing a jacket, obviously I don't hang out with you on a day-to-day like we, used to. But I remember you wearing the jacket, and I may have said, something. Not may have. I know I've said something to you about it at some point. Yeah. Like, but if I'm being honest, I did always. I mean, after a while, it was just like, that's Petey, wear the jacket, whatever, who gives a shit. But it was one of those things where it was like, why is this wearing a jacket right now? So, I mean, I guess maybe to a lesser extent, that is kind of like, bringing it full circle with me.
And yeah, like I had the whole thing about wearing it was a puffy, winter coat that I was wearing at first. I had two coats that I had since 4th and 5th grade. There was the blue Iowa Cyclones coat. I have not watched a single Iowa State Cyclones game in my life. I don't remember why I had the coat, aside from I probably liked the color since it was blue. And I had a black and yellow Grambling Tigers coat. that were like puffy winter's coats that I would wear. And I had those since I was in like 4th and 5th grade, respectively. And I would wear those, but you know me, I had this is my signature look. I'm gonna try to do this, especially in high school. Hell, that might have, to an extent, that might have extended into adulthood, where it's like, I need to have a signature look, even if it's not the exact same thing. I have a way I go about doing things. You know what I mean? Just because, to some extent, I've always cared a little bit about my branding. And again, I can go outside without a jacket, so it's not like, oh, I broke kayfabe or I broke my branding because I left the house with a jacket. So it's not it either. That's just something I can say. Maybe that comes into what jackets I'm wearing, or take that into a case. You know, oh, I gotta wear this, or hell, I went to prom. And I changed from my tux into my gold suit in the car because I refused to show up at prom and not in my signature suit. Even though my mom was like, you should wear a tux and look like a proper person when you go to prom instead of wearing this gold color suit.
So you got pictures of you in a gold suit at prom?
Well, some people also call the color mustard or brown. It's the main suit I wore throughout high school. So I wore it on the news. I randomly wore it on the news. Huh?
I didn't know you did news at your high school. I knew you did, like we even talked about on the podcast, that you did skits and shit like that.
Yeah, I did the news as well. I
didn't know you like news broadcasting.
The school. Well, it's school news.
Right, school news, but I didn't know you did it.
Yeah, no, we had Studio 4, which had the cameras and everything for it. They even had a green screen wall so we can do shit like the weather and stuff like that. Like, they had their own little news studio thing in there. And I was an anchor. Especially, like, generally with the news class, everybody does every role of the news at some point. So, like, hey, you're in charge of teleprompter. You're in charge of camera 1, camera 2. Charge of the switchboards flipping the cameras. You're in charge of the music we play before the intro and on the exit when we do the credits. You know, all of that kind of stuff, and it would rotate throughout the days. But by senior year, rather than doing every job, because I think I did it from sophomore through senior year that I was doing news class. I might have did some freshman year, but I think I was too much of a bitch to be on camera freshman year. So, yeah, by senior year, though, I was a regular anchor. Like, I only did, like, 3 or 4 positions in that news class, as opposed to out of the, like, 10. And half the time it was either anchor or weatherman or something else. I was on screen. And when I had on that same fucking jacket I had on for 3 fucking years. And when it came prom time, I'm like, I'm wearing this whole suit. People know me for wearing this fucking suit. They see me on screen every day, 2 or 3 times a week, talking to them with this suit on, and I'm gonna go to a dance where I'm supposed to dress up and not wear the whole damn suit? That was my thing. That was my thought process at the time. Because I've always wanted to hey, I talked earlier about people, you know what I mean? People want to be different. You know, I've always wanted to stand out to an extent. And again, like, I get clearly, as I stated earlier, I get frustrated when people ask me questions. So it's not even like I'm attention whoring when I wear the jacket now. It might have started off as an attention whore thing, but it's not that now. It's probably just, like I said, habit. But people don't want to accept the answer of habit. Just like they don't want to accept the answer of, I just don't feel like fucking drinking or smoking.
I'm gonna hand it to you, man. You on this episode said some really insightful, good shit, the way you made your points and whatnot. Like, seriously, in several different parts. I've just been listening. I'm like, you're saying some really good shit. Like the way you're tying stuff in, the way you're making your points and all that stuff. Just the way, so like, seriously, like no kidding. Because like that whole full circle tie-in was insightful.
And the question you had about why do you wear a jacket? I think that conversation came up as recently as this past Christmas with my mom, where she's like, I still tell you it's this. I'm like, and I still tell you it's not that. I thought you had a different answer this time for me. But I love my mom, obviously. I love my mom, obviously. Sorry, my throat was getting scratchy while I was talking because I hadn't taken time to breathe.
I love my mom. Ugh.
Well, no, I was like, no,
no,
it
I know
was.
You know, it
I
was
love my
the
mom.
timing. No, because
yeah.
it was first of all, it was just funny because it was like, where'd that come from? But it's also funny to be like, I love my mom. like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Making a stupid joke.
Yeah.
But no, like I've even had one of my friends say, you don't have any trauma that you like need to escape from. Like flat out, like, you don't have any trauma you need to escape. And I was like, doesn't everybody? You know,
You've
like,
gone 30 years
of, like,
without needing to. But yeah, because so many people use it as an escape, like I said, they're like, how are you 30 years old and ain't been driven to drink yet? Don't you realize the world is a shitty place?
Honestly, what you just said is the subtext behind majority of what people say when they get more when they get more accusatory is not the right word, what the fuck, but when they get more of a sense of like
heightened interest.
No, not even just that, a sense of like bewilderment.
Okay.
When they get when they get to more of a sense of bewilderment and more of a sense of just like they can't comprehend, the subtext is, you are alive, right? You do understand that life sucks, right? Like, that is the subtext to people who more so are, like I said, this state of confusion.
Well, yeah, that's why some people are like, wait, do you have any vices? You gotta have something to help you escape. Even if it's not drinking alcohol, what do you do? And I think it was more of a, so if you don't do these, what do you do? Not necessarily critical, but curious. Because like I said, you're different. And hell, I've been telling you you're different, and there are times where I'm like, I'm just trying to understand, Jazz. And you're like, why are you so messed up on this opinion? Because I don't get it. I want to know why. But instead of anime opinions, it's, do you drink or smoke?
What's so funny is, well, yeah, we talk about anime opinions. Everybody, speak, if you want to understand what that is, go look up, what is it, youtube.com/feogrande. Go ahead.
Or even earlier episodes of this.
Yeah, check out, or yeah, FEOGRANDE. Go ahead and check out his channel and see some of us talking about Dragon Ball Z episodes and movies, and you will see that apparently, with no prompting, my thinking is very far left in some cases than the typical fan base. So,
far left field, like, that is.
Yeah, well, left field, right? Exactly.
Well, and, 2022, you say far left, people get all.
Oh, okay, I see what you get that. I get, yeah. Very, 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 very different thinking, and very like where that come from thinking, without me knowing that it was whoa, what the hell opinion. I have whoa, what the hell opinions about shit. But I mean, that's another thing like that, that like what's so funny is, I mean, I was gonna say not to make this a whole podcast kind of about me, but a lot of this podcast has been about me. It is what it is at this point. But like you said, like I have thought sometimes, like I think I was thinking this honestly, like maybe like a few days ago, where I was just like, what is up with me? Because like I will watch certain shit. Not that I'm like, oh no, what's wrong with me? Oh my God. Or like, I'm even mad about my brain and how it works, because if anything, I like the fact that I do think different at times. But I do think sometimes like, what's up with me? Because for instance, in the realm of pop culture with movies and pop culture with like TV and shit like that, like I'll watch shit and certain shit that everybody likes, I will either think whatever, or genuinely not like it, and I won't do it on purpose. That's why it comes off like I do it on purpose, but I won't do it on purpose. Like, for instance, Scream 2022, aka Scream 5. A lot of people are saying that this is one of I've seen all five. A lot of people are saying that this is one of the best Scream. What? Why are you thinking that? For
Go ahead.
I don't know where you're going. A lot of people say
I don't know fully where you're going, so I can't answer your question.
I'm just the phases like what the fuck. A lot of people are saying this is one of the better Scream movies out of the franchise. Like I said, this is the fifth one. I'm definitely not thinking it's the worst. Maybe not even second worst. But I saw it and I expected more. And I saw one of my friends because he had an extra ticket because he was supposed to see it with his dad, but his dad couldn't make it. So he's like, "Hey, you want to see it?" Because he knew we had watched all 4 of them, so whatever. And he loved it, thought it was great. This, that. I watched the movie, and I didn't think it was trash by any means. Thought it was a good movie, but I thought it was just a good movie, like a cool movie. Like, okay, that was all right. And like I say, it's just funny because I watch shit and before, that's why some people think I'm a contrarian, because of the fact that my thinking is so different like that. But before I know consensus is this way, my brain is already made up to say, meh. And that's I was honestly thinking about that shit of like a few days ago. I was like, what is it about me that in some cases I'm just so unimpressed, where so many people are like ridiculously impressed, and then in other cases, stuff that seems innocuous to me, I'm like, oh my God, that was fucking amazing. Best part of the fucking movie. Like, and I just like thinking like, because I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there is some shit that I will watch and so many people will be like, what was your favorite part of the movie? And I'll name something in like great fucking detail, or very flowery language about how it affected me. And somebody be like, I didn't even think about that. Really? And I'm just like, what is up with my fucking brain?
And this is why so many people inquire upon you about your opinion. So many people, that kind of want to study you. They talk about you. Because at the end of the day, that's why they tune in. And that's why they say, when they talk about you, that jazz bears watching. It's because you need to know about this different individual.
That's not why the two who said it. That's not why.
No, I said so many people. That's why everybody else says it.
Ain't nobody
is not so many people. Everybody
says
it. That jazz bears watching. That's why they tune in every week, buddy. They gotta know.
There are only two people in my life that I know of that have ever said that jazz bears watching, and they didn't say it in the sense of, because I want to see what makes his brain tick.
No, they said it because you're gonna be a ladies' man.
That was what they were getting.
Or at least of the three of us, that you would be the ladies' man. And they were right. And they were correct.
I mean, I don't know.
And even in this other context that I'm using it in, yeah, I'm correct too. You do bear watching because you're so different. Because people need to know that this kind of person exists. Guy out here who looks at everything everybody likes and just naturally is adverted to it.
But like I said,
without trying to be. That's why I said naturally, without doing it, just instinctively within his DNA. It's just that. Fuck this! Oh, God damn it!
It would be different if I knew that it was something that people didn't like, or people did like and I didn't like. But in most cases, I don't know that the consensus is, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm like, eh. But anyway, all that being said, everybody, bring this full circle again. We went on this whole diatribe just because of, not diatribe, we went on this whole dialogue, for the sake of conversation and whatnot. And that's the whole point of the podcast. But at the end of the day, if you are of age and you are, being autonomous in your movements and whatnot, and you're making your own decisions, doing the do, You do what you want to do, whether that be smoking cigarettes, whether it be smoking weed, legally. I feel like I should say that, but still, whether it be smoking weed, whether it be drinking, as long as you don't do anything to where it takes up your life, and like I said, you're of age, you're not being forced to, you're genuinely not being pressured to, you just want to do what you want to do. You do what you want to do. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. If you do want to do it, go ahead and do it. This is very much a world where everybody can make their own decisions. So make your own decision. And you know what? I love you for it. And if you want to keep on making those decisions on your own, then maybe you will make the decision to go ahead and find and follow me on my socials, one of which being my Facebook page. Please go ahead, find and give me a like. That would be under Superjaz, which would be spelled Superjaz. You can also go ahead and find and follow me on Twitter, which would be Superjaz2. So that'd be Superjaz number 2. And then, of course, you can also find and follow me on Instagram, which would be under Forever Superjaz, the word forever spelled correctly. I also make music. So anywhere you stream your music, you can go ahead and look me up. Type in the debut solo album titled My Secret Identity. And like I said, that is anywhere that you stream music. You may have to put in Superjaz, My Secret Identity to find it because I'm not that famous yet. Where might they be able to make the decisions to find and follow you, my man?
You know they can find me every week here on this channel, every Wednesday, as we have stated. You can also find me, as we stated, elsewhere on YouTube at youtube.com/feogrande. That's F-E-O-Grande. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Giotavi. That's Giotavi. Play various games and stuff throughout the, times of the chill. Come on, stop by, chat, do it up. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Giotavi, the same as the Twitch. That's Giotavi. You can find me there. And if I'm not complaining about sports, I'm probably talking about something else or sharing a meme or something. But yeah, so that's pretty much where they can find me. I think I listed it all. I wish Orlando had a catchier name that I could do something like, oh no, you can find O in Orlando. Got it. Anyway, you can't find me there either. Or can you? Ooh. Yeah, you can.
Well, you know what's funny? What's funny too is like when we're recording this, when this is released, like you said a little earlier, it's kind of apropos that this will get released a few days before my 31st birthday. But no, well, we spent a whole episode talking about being an adult, making decisions, doing do or not. That's all well and good. But you got to help me out with this one.
What's up, buddy?
That's what we talked about for this episode. What the fuck are we going to talk about next time?
Whatever we want, motherfucker. Let me calm myself.
Be nice to yourself, everybody.
Whatever we want.
Be nice to yourself.
Adiosness.
Insightful episode.
Mm-hmm.